Residents served by the Newport Water Treatment Plant have been living under a boil water notice since the 20th of May, with many expressing frustration at the lack of clarity around when the issue will be resolved. Concerns have also been raised about communication from Uisce Éireann and the absence of alternative water supplies for affected households. The situation comes as the utility prepares for another community engagement event on the proposed Shannon Pipeline later this month, prompting some residents to question confidence in their ability to deliver major infrastructure projects. To discuss, we are joined by local resident Yvonne Moloney and the Killaloe Fianna Fáil Councillor Tony O'Brien, who both join me on the line, and thank you to both of you for being with us. Yvonne, what feedback are you hearing from residents affected by the notice, and how disruptive has this been for households and families over the past number of weeks?
Well, hi, Alan, and thanks for having me on today. Well, it's had a huge impact on locals' lives here. 8,000 homes are impacted, and it's our third boil water notice so far this year. So it seems to be some kind of ongoing issue. And so in my own household, we've got 2 kids, and we've just been constantly boiling water, filling bottles to make sure we've got enough water in the house. And, that has a knock-on impact then on electricity bills. And we're also buying bottled water. So, and things were particularly difficult there during the warm weather. And then we've had my youngest son's communion last week. And again, there was the whole hassle of worrying, do we have enough water? We had the reception at home. We were buying bottles of water. We ran out of water in the middle of the day. My husband had to go off to the shop in the middle of the party to get some more. So it's just been a constant kind of source of frustration really here.
And I guess that, from what you're telling us, Yvonne, that highlights the lack of alternative water supplies. What are people saying about that?
Well, people are feeling frustrated. There's been a lack of communication, I would say, from Uisce Éireann on the whole issue. We've been questioning, will we get a tanker to the area that will give out free water or maybe bottled water? And other people are saying, neighbours of mine are saying that they're keeping their bills for the bottled water because they think that they should be compensated for it by Uisce Éireann. So we're not really been given an alternative other than being told boil the water, and there's no more support than that coming really.
Let's bring Tony O'Brien in, and Tony can sense Yvonne's very, very understandable frustration to have the boil water notice and for it to have been running this long is a difficult situation to be dealing with. In terms of Killaloe, I don't think the boil notice alert is affecting that particular water supply.
No, Alan, it doesn't. But sure, I mean, it's only 12 months ago we had the problem with the Bridgetown O'Brien's Bridge Montpellier supply, which lasted almost 6 months, if I remember correctly. And again, the whole process, and you can sense Yvonne's frustration there. It's the process that it takes, but it's compounded. That frustration is compounded by the lack of information, the lack of engagement by Uisce Éireann in informing people.
And sorry, Tony, to cut across you, but that lack of engagement, as you describe it, does that even relate to elected representatives? Are you not getting any sort of word as to how long this is expected to last?
No, you're not, Alan. There's a process they go through to lift the boil notice, and the HSE are very much involved in that. There are a prescribed number of tests that they have to do, and there has to be clear analysis, and the water has to be passed for, I think it's 3 consecutive tests and so forth. But again, as an elected representative, I will get the same bland standard answer that Yvonne and the consumers are getting. It's that lack of of engagement to say, well, look, there's something wrong with the plant. There's a part down, or there's something in the water that we're trying to trace, and we're expected to take a month, a week, or whatever. At least people can prepare. And like Yvonne referred to there, this is what we're doing. We're putting this A, B or C in place, like tankers will be at the GA Club or the community centres or whatever at prescribed times that people can go and fill their empty bottles and stuff like that. But it's just a complete lack of engagement and ignoring the people who are actually who are their customers. And it's absolutely, I can sense their frustration, because I, like Yvonne, and I'm sure thousands and millions more, the length and breadth of the country, are totally frustrated by the lack of information forthcoming from the body that is Uisce Éireann.
Yeah, and it's Yvonne, it seems really like a number of different issues coming to a head. The fact there is a boil water notice, the fact it's going on so long, that you're all having to find other ways to get water, as you say, buying water, but that's going to tot up in terms of money, as is the constantly having the kettle or pots on boiling water, as you mentioned, electricity. But the not knowing when it's going to end, and the utility that has put this boil water notice in place hasn't given you, as I say, the tankers with water as an alternative solution. Just all of that coming to a head.
Yeah, it's the lack of information, and then you have people making up their own stories to explain it. Like, some people think there's E. coli in the water and they're afraid to use it even when the water is boiled, for babies' bottles or for elderly people. Other people are saying it's a problem with the Newport Treatment Plant, and I think that was just upgraded a year ago. So it's the lack of clarity and the lack of, as Tony was saying, the lack of engagement with people. And it's an issue of trust as well. We're here being asked to attend this community engagement night on the 17th of June in relation to the new proposed Shannon Pipeline. And it's just kind of ironic that, we're here thinking, well, if they can't even fix a local water supply, how can Uisce Éireann manage a multi-billion euro infrastructure project that's going to have an impact, a big impact in Killaloe?
And Tony, I'm sure Uisce Éireann might balk at that suggestion, but you can understand why Yvonne and others would say that. And does it raise wider questions about confidence in their ability to deliver major infrastructure projects such as the proposed Shannon Pipeline? Or are these two issues just not connected at all?
Absolutely, Ellen. Of course it does. But, in fairness, I would say to you, the government have decided that they're going to throw 6 billion at Uisce Éireann to deliver this project. So I'd imagine even a Joe Soap like Tony O'Brien could deliver it, being thrown funding like that. It's the devastation and the impact, and in particular the devastating impact that could be left after this pipeline is what's really concerning. The River Shannon is the greatest natural resource that we have in the Midlands, in the Midwest, and this project is flawed. Only last 2 weeks ago, Waterways Ireland issued a notice to boat owners and people using the River Shannon, warning of low levels. This is after probably one of the wettest winters and spring seasons that we've had in the last number of years. In 2017, Ardnacrusha Power Station ceased operating, producing electricity for 74 days on the trot because there wasn't enough water in the River Shannon to generate the pipes. So, it's the devastation and what the potential impact that this project has on the entire River Shannon is what's concerning for us,
Yeah.
So whether it's Uisce Éireann that we're doing it or any other body, it's a totally flawed and wrong project.
And I can see Yvonne White would frustrate that they're engaging with the community on the proposed Shannon Pipeline, but not on what's happening in terms of your water supply, your drinking water. I suspect this event on 17th of June, they may, from the top table, be talking about the proposed Shannon Pipeline, but I think I know what the theme of all of the questions from the audience is going to be related to. Would I be incorrect in that assumption?
No, and I definitely think it's a major issue that people are going to be speaking about. I'd imagine that the community engagement team on the project are going to be trying to get their colleagues in Uisce Éireann to sort out as much as possible the water issue before that. I mean, that's what I'd be doing. I wouldn't want to be standing up there pushing a project of this magnitude and the people saying, well, you can't even sort out the boil water notice that's been here for the last few weeks. But another issue that people are kind of concerned about is that these community engagement nights are not really being properly advertised. So a lot of people in the area are not even aware that this night is upcoming. It's on in the Family Resource Centre in Killaloe on the 17th of June. But that's only, I found that out through a Facebook group, for example. There's no sort of proper, promotion of the event by Uisce Éireann, which is another issue,
I wouldn't be surprised if there's quite a significant crowd at this one, though, given what you've just been telling us.
I'd say so.
Word will spread fast and far and wide. Just finally, Tony, I suppose if they want locals to support a project like the proposed Shannon Pipeline, do you feel Uisce Éireann really need to get their ducks in a row and sort out what's happening with this boil water notice, or at least if it's going to go on for some time? We're talking about community engagement. Engage with the community on this if they want to get locals to be more receptive to the huger project of that pipeline.
Well, I suppose, Helen, there's nothing that you can bring forward that will I suppose, satisfy my concerns about the water abstraction project. It's a flawed project, and there are other alternatives. We're not saying that that Dublin shouldn't have a proper supply of water, but I think it goes follows in line what Uisce Éireann are doing. A couple of weeks ago at our local municipal district meeting, I had cause to suspend standing orders to invite Uisce Éireann into our municipal district, because a second EPA report came out in January this year, I think it was, absolutely replicating what happened 2 years ago in the Bridgetown plant. And I asked that they'd come in and explain themselves and explain why it happened again. And I don't expect them to come in. I don't. But their response in a public statement that they put out is they try to throw the staff under the bus. And this again an outrageous cover up. Where no, I know the staff. Personally, I know them who work there, and I don't have any truck with them if they're wrong. But I know them to be good community, good people who care about their job, who work within their communities. And for Uisce Éireann to come along and try and say that use terminology in their response, like stuff was disabled and stuff like that. Uisce Éireann are a flawed body, Alan.
Well, that leads me on to what I was going to say to finish, Tony, which is that, look, I'm sure Uisce Éireann would balk at the suggestion that they threw them under a bus, but that leads me to that we've reached out to them for a statement on all of this. So as and when we get that, we will bring it to you. We do have to leave there. My thanks to the Killaloe Fianna Fáil Councillor, Tony O'Brien, and local resident there, Yvonne Moloney.